Hey guys, welcome back to another video. A couple years ago, bought this truck because I knew we were going to buy, of course, a fifth wheel like that one, and we needed something to haul it with. We needed something to haul it with, so I bought this truck. And I noticed when we bought that the first fifth wheel, that it made the truck sag quite a bit. Then move on to this year, we bought the bigger fifth wheel, and last year we bought this enclosed snowmobile trailer, and I noticed that the truck is sagging a little more than I would like. Plus, with this monster fifth wheel or monster snowmobile trailer, I noticed that it sits with the front pretty low on my truck when it sags. Right now, the truck, without it hooked up to the trailer, sitting fairly high, comes up to shoulder height or whatever, but right now I have a plan that I had just bought a bag kit for this truck. See if we can put some bags on it and change the ride and make it to where snowmobile trailer sits kind of level, fifth wheel sits a little more level, and maybe improve the ride a little bit. Because right now, as it sits, right now, as it sits, we're looking at almost 59 and a half. I'm probably not going to do this because you guys are probably not going to be able to see it, but right now, as it sits on the ground, oh, I can't do this one-handed, 59 inches is what we're sitting at. And what I think I'm going to do is we're going to take and lower the snowmobile trailer onto the truck, and then we'll measure and see what height it is once that happens. The leaf springs are in good shape. It has those little helper springs on it too, but it's only a 250, so it's not a 1 ton, it's a 3/4 ton. I want the ride height to be a little bit better. I want the trailers to sit on it a little bit better. And they say that the airbags help with the ride quality. So let me hook up the snowmobile trailer. As you can see right now, snowmobile trailer and truck, they look kind of level, but we'll hook the snowmobile trailer up and then we'll remeasure what the distance is. So now I've got the snowmobile trailer on the truck, and as you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but it looks like the snowmobile trailer is running downhill to the truck, and then the truck has got a little bit of a sag to it. But I think when it has the sag, it sits a little more level. The butt of it's a little high. But with that being said, now if I measure what the truck is now, the exact same spot, it looks like we're at 57 and a half inches compared to what it was 59 and a half. So it's almost 2 inches that the truck sags. But like I said, I think when it sags, it comes down to where it makes the truck level. Leaf springs don't look too bad, don't look like they're flattened out or anything, but I would rather just be able to get the back of the truck up, give it a lot better cushion, see if I can't get the snowmobile trailer leveled out a little bit, it'll pull better. Right now we only have 2 sleds up front anyway in the snowmobile trailer, so it's going to make it heavy in the front. I only got the one mine in the back, so it's going to be a little heavy in the front, but I'd still rather just get a nice ride on the truck. So we are going to install this airlift bag kit, and I don't think the compressor is going to be that hard to install, but looking at the bags, there's a lot to it, so it's going to be interesting to see. I'll actually have to follow the instructions on that one because there's a lot to it. So we'll get started and we'll install these bags and then figure out where we're going to put the compressor. Okay, so I've got the airbag kit unboxed. I've got all my parts and pieces set out, and I have the instructions, which I think I'm going to have to use because it's pretty, there's a lot of things that have to be done. I have to take bump stops off of the frame, and where everything matches up to the frame is where all this stuff's going to mount up. So first things first, I got to figure out how to get my truck up in the air, and then I've got to figure out how to kind of support it so I can let the axle sag, because where these bags fit in, it's in between where the bump stop is on the frame and the bracket or the block for the leaf springs. So let's get started. See if I can't find some way of lifting this truck up to get it to let the axle sag down a little bit, and then we'll start mocking stuff up, putting stuff together, and see if we can't get these airbags in. All right, so don't mind my redneck engineering. My truck's got a 4-inch lift on it, so it's a little hard to put jack stands under. But to start off, what we're gonna end up doing is removing this bump stop. I've got to get to access to this bolt here, and then the airbag will sit in between here. I think I've got it figured out on brackets I need and everything that's going to mount to the frame. So I got to get some tools together, and let's see if we can't take that bump stop out and get some of this brackets put in. So we kind of ran into a little bit of a roadblock. The instructions say that, and you can't probably see this real well, the instructions say I need to remove my fifth wheel plate on the outside so I can get to the 2 access holes that are on the underneath side, but Dylan and I are going to give it a shot doing something else. This is the bolt that's going to go in one of the holes, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to try to super glue the washer and the nut together. Dylan's going to slide the nut up between the frame rail and the fifth wheel hitch bracket, and we're going to see if we can get it in there without having to tear apart that whole fifth wheel hitch bracket off the side of the frame rail, which will be a lot nicer, save a little bit of time. So we gotta go find some super glue and see if we can super glue those washers onto the nuts. If not, our option number 2 is just to put a slight little tack on it to hold them together while we try to fit them between the frame rail and that fifth wheel bracket. Okay, so things haven't been going as smoothly as I was hoping. I've got the airbags for the most part assembled and ready to go into the truck, but Dylan and I went and put this one in the truck, and as soon as we did, of course my truck has a 4-inch lift on it. This kit is for a truck that has the standard normal lift on it, and this carriage bolt is about 4 inches too short. I've tried to go and look at some carriage bolts at the hardware store, and they're all 10 inches long, which is what these are. I need something that's at least 14 inches long. So right now we're at a point where I can't really do anything until I find these carriage bolts. So I've got another place that I can go check and see if I've got more, if they've got any carriage bolts, but right now I'm gonna have to order some, and I don't know when they're gonna come in. Couldn't find any carriage bolts, but I've got an idea. Actually, Dylan came up with this idea. I've got 4 pieces of all thread. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them to the length I need. These ones are 24 inches, so I'm gonna cut them at 15 inches. I've got some nuts and washers that I'm gonna weld on the end of it so that I can put it underneath like this one is. Oh, can't see it, like that. So it'll go underneath the bag, but then the other side I can reach, so it'll be fine. But we'll weld nuts on the end of this, we'll put washers under it, and then the nuts and washers for the carriage bolts that are right here should fit this all thread, and that'll be able to let us put it on the truck and get them tightened up. what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut all of these to length, cut them to about 15 inches, and either I'll weld the nuts on or I might have Dylan weld the nuts on, and then we can see if we can get these bags in. Got dark last night on me, so I didn't get to film a whole lot more, but I'm out here today. Let's see if we can't finish up this airbag, get the air compressor put in, and hopefully get this thing aired up today. I got pretty much, this whole bag is in place. Most everything is set up and tightened. When I go over and put this bag in on the passenger side, get everything tightened up, I'll go through and double check everything, and then we'll move on to the compressor. Don't know how much of this I'm going to film, because putting this bag in is going to be the same as what I did the first time on the driver's side, but it'll go a lot faster because there's nothing in the way. The bracket and all the stuff is already in, and putting the bag in is going to be pretty simple. I won't have to take out the shock or anything like that. I can just put the bag in, bolt everything up, and then we can move on to the compressor. Just finished putting in the passenger side airbag. There it is. And everything's tight. I've got marker paint on all the bolts, so I can kind of keep an eye on whether or not they're backing out, and just to check, make sure they're tight. I'll drive it a ways, use the airbags up and down a little bit, get them moving around, and then recheck everything, make sure it's still tight. I didn't end up with too many extra parts. The long carriage bolts were because they weren't long enough for everything else, so I got the carriage bolts left over and just this little assortment, bolts and nuts. This right here is a heat shield that I still have to put on, that goes around. There's a can that's right next to the airbag, so this goes on to protect that. But all in all, can't really see it real good, but I think all in all, we'll have to climb under there and show you, but all in all, I think it was a pretty easy install. Well, I wouldn't say easy. Driver's side's a little tight, a lot of stuff in the way. Def bracket is there. A lot of the wiring coming back to the back of the truck is on the driver's side, but passenger side went a little quicker. See if I can climb under here and give you a look at the airbag from underneath. This is where that heat shield goes, but all in all, not too bad. Clean look install. I think it went pretty good, not too bad. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the truck down, get it off of my Redneck Engineering, get it sitting on its own weight, double check everything, make sure there's nothing in the way, nothing getting pinched or acting funny. Put this heat shield on, and then we move on to the air compressor. See if we can't figure out how to get that mounted. These airbags come with their own hose, which you can run to the airbag and then run it across and put it, say a lot of people put it at the back of where the license plate is, somewhere in there. And what you do is you just walk up with an air hose, fill it up to what you think the truck should be sitting at, and that's what you do. But I want to have it to where I hit a button, pumps the airbags up, hit a button, releases the airbags. So that's why we're going to install that air compressor. So I'm going to let this truck down and we'll see what it looks like sitting on its own weight. I've just unboxed everything for my compressor. Here's the compressor. They gave me a certain amount of hose, so it's going to this length of hose is going to depend on where I mount the compressor. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to run this line from the airbag on the passenger side, see how far I can get with enough left over to be able to run driver's side to the compressor. With the length of my truck, I'm not sure how far. I'm assuming I'm only gonna get it to about here, right in here somewhere, is where I think I'm gonna end up getting that compressor. That way I have enough line to run it from the driver's side bag to the compressor, passenger side airbag all the way to the compressor, without having to go see if I can find some of this, because I don't know where I would get it. So let's run this hose out, run underneath the truck, get the hose over, see where the best spot is to mount the compressor. Well, it looks like I'm not gonna be able to put the air compressor on this side, because I have my parking brake cable sits right here, and if I try to put the air compressor over it, the cable's in the way. So what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go to the other side. We're gonna have to put it on the passenger side and see if there's a good spot to put it over there. There's just so much stuff over here on this side. Nuts, bolts sticking through the frame. So yeah, let's get to the other side and see if there's a good spot to mount up this compressor. So I think I found a spot on the passenger side of the truck. I have this little hose right here that I had to undo. I still think I might, you guys can't even look. I've got this hose right here. I got undo. I've undone it down through here. I think I still might need to undo it here. But I think the compressor will fit here. Once I get that compressor mounted up into this spot, we'll have to figure out how or what we need to do to secure this rubber hose in place. Not sure what it's for. I might have to look into it a little bit more to see where it's going and what it does. But I think for right now, let's get this compressor in place, bolted up, and then we'll figure out what to do with the line afterwards. Just finished installing the compressor. It's in a nice solid spot. It's gonna make it easy running air lines to the back airbags. Electrical, hopefully the electrical is gonna be long enough to get up to the battery. I don't think I'm gonna do that on camera though. It's just 2 wires, one red, one black, and then running some air hoses into connections. But with that being said, please don't forget to like this video. Give us a comment, see if you give us a comment and tell us what you thought. Something I could have done different, something better. And don't forget to subscribe. You guys have been knocking it out of the park. I think we hit 200 subscribers, maybe a couple more, and that's really awesome. So we'll see you next Wednesday.